All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a semifinals match that is long-awaited, the official rematch between two titans, Team Mexico versus Team China. Obviously, if you guys were not aware, China was the unfortunate upset that happened in the first round, and their seed got stolen by Team Mexico. So Mexico is currently in the third seed slot, and I think China is coming back this week for a vengeance. But we will have to see. I am your commentator, ERA Basil. We are currently waiting on a ref, so we should be able to get to the match relatively soon. But until then, which it shouldn't take too long. Let's just talk about these two teams. We have in Team Mexico, we have Mari and Asael, who have been doing kind of the brunt of most of the work in at least their last losers bracket match. But I do know that now Zeno and Gamer are also present and working the map pool. For China, we have Willie Minato and Formless as the two, I feel like, main drivers, main big forces in China, as well as Liu Bei and Ikemi. I think I'm pronouncing that name right. Ikemi? I'm not too sure. But these two absolute just beasts of a team. Judging from both their scores earlier, which they both have played their preliminary matches, both succeeding, obviously. That's how we're here now. The winner of this will be going on to the losers bracket finals, which is a pretty intense matchup. I'm really interested in seeing, personally at least, how they're going to fare on the Rice, because I feel like both these teams are pretty Rice-centric. Mostly, based around Rice, at least judging from their previous scores. And, I think personally China has the upper hands in terms of raw accuracy, but Team Mexico has had some actual zingers of some matches, with Asael just being that main driving steam horse that he is. And I'm really interested in seeing how this is going to turn out. I feel like we're actually probably going to get a few long note maps here. I'm not super sure, but I feel like if I were Team Mexico, that might be kind of the route to go through. And I'm not too sure if we have a ref just yet. I do think Ping is going to be our lovely referee of the day. And after this, we're gonna have... Actually, I think it's happening at the same time. USB versus... I can't believe I just forgot. Versus another team that I'm sure is going to be a pretty nail-biting match. And it looks like the players have been invited. Gotta love some words I never said. Peak Osu song right there. So as the players stumble into the lobby. I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as I can. I am rooting for a team, but I'm going to be very, very unbiased here. And we're actually going to be seeing Snow popping in. I don't believe Snow was... I don't believe he made an appearance. I think he was busy during the last match. So Mexico also has possibly an extra ace if they're still you. We'll see. And we're going to get the rolls. Snow rolling at 21 points. And if I can be honest, I feel like the lower roll kind of gets the better option. You get to see, because there's a strong chance, especially with no bans, that the opponents will pick the map that you guys want to pick. So. China versus Mexico. That's such a crazy matchup. Being one of the first matches actually ever streamed over in this edition of 1K World Cup. Doesn't look like Mexico has. It doesn't look like. Looks like China's going to be rolling. I'm going to call it 80. I'm gonna call that they're gonna roll an 80. Oh, well, I was definitely off, but China will be winning the roll. And unfortunately, since there are no bans, they can jump straight into it. Or fortunately, I guess. Depends on how you look at it. I'm feeling a strong... Oh, yep. Definitely expected possibility of Fragment of Soul. China performing exceptionally well on Fragment of Soul, their last match. I believe both players might have even FC'd. Really tricky chart, really awkward, and it doesn't even matter if you have it down super, super well. The choke potential in some of these streams are just ridiculous. I personally think that the long notes are the hardest part of the chart. The long notes after the first chorus, but we'll see how these players do. I don't believe we saw Mexico play Fragment of Soul in their match. But knowing how well China's able to play it, and it being their first choice, we'll have to see. An amazing song. Again, it is a custom song. If people didn't watch the showcase. The custom song specifically for this tournament. Gotta love to see what Jay always hooks up for us. We got some good lucks, and the match is starting. This is going to be an intense match, I think, no matter what. I mean, even both of these players, their scores, both these teams, their scores on some of these maps are extremely close. We're going to have Asael and Happer Gamer versus Willie Minato and Formless. Pretty clean start from all the players. Definitely China with a pretty big advantage, especially with Willie Minato keeping in extremely good accuracy. But Mexico is definitely not too far behind, only a couple thousand points. Still all FCs also, but as we come into this first chorus, that's probably going to change here. Yep, and we're going to see the first break happening from Happer Gamer. China looking exceptional on this chart, and Happer Gamer unfortunately not quite able to catch their bearings. And Asael finding an unfortunate drop, but it's traded with Willie Minato. That being said, the score difference, especially with the choke coming in from Asael, is going to be pretty substantial. Anything can happen, but it is a pretty wide margin. That's going to be a pretty bad miss, but it's going to be traded back, and they're going to be taking yet a larger lead, nearly at 150,000 now. But Willie Minato seems to find quite a few misses here. But Formless being able to keep it in, keep it all together for China. Asael missing the burst. And Formless keeping a fantastic accuracy, 99.84. 85 now, even gaining. And Happer Gamer again finding quite another miss. The score lead is now a very, very solid 250,000 in China's favor. Minato's finding another break. Going to the last course, we'll see how they miss. Asael will be finding the first mistake. And another one, but Happer Gamer being able to hold on just a little bit. All players still holding the S rank. And a full S rank in the lobby. And the first point is going to be going over to China with a pretty large margin. With Formless getting the V1 SS. Both players in China having a very scary ratio. Unfortunate misses coming in from Minato. But kind of to be expected on China's first pick. Mexico, I'm going to imagine it's probably going to go... I'd have to guess We Own the Night, judging from their last... Oh, no, they're actually going to go CL6. Classic 6. And it's going to be Gehenna. Interesting play, actually. In both of the matches, China actually had a better score than Mexico did, but that's also given the fact that Mexico apparently didn't have the greatest of runs. So maybe they're hoping to kind of turn the tides on them a little bit. We'll have to see. We're going to see a switch out. Probably to Lube, I'd imagine. Yep, and there they are. Which is interesting, because I'm pretty sure... I might have to check real quick. Yeah, William Minato actually played this against Team Australia. And they were also had a pretty rough score. So I'm interested in seeing what Lube has to offer for this chart instead. It'd be a secret little tactic to make them think that they aren't as good, but I'm not too sure they would do that. Yeah, I can imagine it possibly might be keyboard issues on Minato's side. We have the good lucks, and the match starts. Gehenna, obviously a pretty speed demon of a chart, quite a few long streams of 250 BPM, as well as tons and tons of gallops and bursts. Mexico has got to hang on if they are able to hit some of these streams, and everybody hitting the first burst. Again, China just edging them out just a little tiny bit in terms of raw accuracy. But as the chart is just starting, anything can happen. And everybody maintaining an FC so far. Hopefully I'm not gonna jinx it. Mari, unfortunately, going to be finding the first miss at a pretty unfortunate time. Really strong accuracies coming up for Formless and Lube. Asael managed to hold it together so far. Nobody finding a miss in the long stream. And Asael trying his best to sort of mitigate damage. Mari finding another miss, unfortunately. And Formless just rock steady here. But Lube is going to be actually trading that back at a really unfortunate time as we go into this relatively easy section. Long notes do tend to be a little bit of a hassle in this chart, especially being triplets with no really strong downbeat. And Lube's going to find another miss there as Mari starts to work her way up back to the combo cap of 400. And Formless is going to find a devastating miss, but Asael trades it back. This is anybody's game right now. The score margin went from 30,000 to less than 5,000, and it's slowly shrinking. But they're both going to trade on the last long note. Lube finding another miss. Mari unfortunately trading it back with a really nasty roll lock there. But Lube also returning the favor, but Mari just back and forth. And we're going to see a double miss reset coming from Team Mexico. Lube did find another miss, but unfortunately it's not going to matter at this point. The lead did shrink very, very quickly, but unfortunately Mexico was not able to win it. And so China takes the first breakpoint. An FC. Actually, not an FC. I believe that was a dropped LN coming from Formless. And next pick will be China's. If I was Team China, I'd probably go for something a bit more raw accuracy, maybe Gardens or even possibly Coco. Since they do tend to have that advantage in terms of just raw physical act. Pick new one. They're actually no snap side, which is definitely a pretty decent play. I do believe both these teams had a Temptation, not I thought fan one. Temptation. Okay. Going to be honest, that's probably in the lower totem pole of what I expected, but it does make sense. China probably does feel a bit superior in terms of raw physicality, and might assume that both these players might not be able to quite hit the fast sections. I think this is going to be the second time in this current pool of players that we're actually going to see this map being played. Temptation, just a brutal chart. Kind of all the way through. There's a couple choke sections early on in the first chorus, and then the entire last half of the chart is just... I personally consider Temptation to be the hardest map that we've seen up until this point in 1Q World Cup. And it looks like we're starting. Willie Minato, not too sure. It might be Bancho acting up just a little bit. Nope, looks like we get an abort. Oh, false alarm, folks. False alarm. Looks like we're gonna be starting back up. Got good luck. Willie Minato still not... Oh, and there we go. Bancho officially loves us. This will probably come down to whoever practiced the map pool more, or at least this map in particular. And this is a really difficult map to practice, especially with how long it is. Lots of fluff in the beginning and super, super difficult patterns towards the end. So being able to practice, unless you kind of tape together the map a bit, and we're gonna find an early break coming in from Happer. But due to the low combo, it's not going to be as detrimental. The score gap is still less than 10,000, going into the first chorus. And here's where things start to turn it up just a little bit. After finding another miss. And another one. Possibly some difficulty coming in, either not practicing the map pool as much, or just having really hard time with these patterns. And Asael also gets another miss. Both players in Team China holding pretty strong combos. And all hitting the 1-6 strings. And lots of misses coming in from Team Mexico, unfortunately. First gallop down. And Happer finding a miss on the last leg of that first chorus. Mexico has got to hope for a bit of a miracle here. That being said, the second part of the chart is, in fact, the hardest part by a wide shot. And everybody hitting that first. Both players in Team China holding very strong accuracies. Minato dropping just a little tiny bit. But managing to catch back on. Happer slowly working back up to the combo cap. Let's see if these players are able to hit this pretty horrifying section. Happer finding a miss early on. And Asael also finding a miss. Fantastic play coming out from China. And it would take kind of a miracle here. It looks like this is definitely going to go and swing in China's favor. Before was going to find a miss right at the end. There is still a really nasty 1/8 burst here coming up, but it's not going to be enough. unfortunate break right at the end, as Bancho even has to figure out what just happened. Very sad, very unfortunate, but congrats to China for winning that point. Fantastic scores all around. Everybody getting an S rank on this, which is really shocking if you've played the map pool. Very, very shocking. Officially a 0 miss, you know, we don't play standard here. It's Mania, so, you know, it's an FC in my books. And a 1 miss, even from Formless, it's just great ratios altogether also. If I were Team Mexico, I'd probably go We Own the Night and just, I mean, no bias intended, right? But they did pretty well on it the first time around, and China seemed to struggle on it just a little bit. I could also see them going something like Sayo Sange, though. Not sure how to pronounce that. Sayu Sanjay? Hestia, maybe? We'll see. China definitely seeming a little more connected to the map pool than they were the first time they played. Their score is definitely standing out a lot, even amongst the misses. And as we wait, they're gonna pick CL1. An interesting choice. Not quite too sure if they have something up their sleeve to be able to compete with the raw, just pure ratio of China. But maybe they have something. Counter good luck. I'd say there's 3 main choke sections where you can break combo that we're probably going to see. Maybe not in this match, but there's a couple of sets of 4 streams over towards the beginning and right at the end, as well as a offhand ending stream right before the second main chorus. We're gonna see Aseo and Mari back at it, and Minato still staying in. And we're going into our first sets of streams. And everybody hitting them. I believe most of this lobby is on a V1SS. And here we go into a pretty frustrating section. We'll see if everyone's able to hit the 4 burst. And everybody hits it. Mari drops 200. Unfortunately, Asael's going to be missing after. Definitely not what they need with Minato's ridiculous consistent accuracy of 99.98 so far. But Mari's still holding in strong. And all players managing to find at least some comfort in these streams as fast as they are and as long as they are, especially at 195 BPM. And Minato actually jumping up to a 99.99 accuracy. And here is the long stream section. We'll see how these players fare. Everybody's starting off pretty well. Alright, it should be smooth sailing from here. Crossing fingers. Minato still top lobbying. And fantastic accuracy from both people in China. And that does it. A good 57,000 lead to China. China is going to be taking this point with 17 perfects and 58 coming in from formless. Great ratios, guys. And all players managing to hit the 99, which is pretty impressive. It is semifinals maps. These are definitely not easy, even though these players might make it seem easy. And they're going to pick Fan 1, which is going to be Snapside this time. Which definitely makes sense. I do believe these two teams have very, very close scores on Snapside. With last rounds, Mexico pulling up with a 1.835 million, and China pulling up with a 1.844. So there's about a 10,000 score difference, but anything could really happen. This is a very difficult chart. Super awkward snaps, tons of 1/5, tons of 1/7. And it is beyond easy to get tripped up and possibly calm lockout. And we get into it. China is currently on their 4-0, hoping for them to make it 5 and go up to match point. All players finding this intro, hopefully, rather simple. And jump into it. Oh, but the double break coming in from Team China at a really unfortunate time for them. But another one coming in from Minato. They have got to hold on. They are currently not a combo cap, so it is still anybody's game. This could definitely be the break point that Team Mexico needs in order to finalize themselves and possibly start this comeback. And Minato finding another break. And now we're officially at the combo cap, but here's the tricky sections. And Mari's gonna find the first miss from Team Mexico. Currently Asael with the only FC, and they managed to hit the 1/7 sections. Mari finding some more misses, really knocking that lead back. Finding another miss, but still managing to keep it over 15,000 so far. And Minato finding a devastating amount of misses there. Doubling Mexico's current lead. But there is tons of this map. And Asael's going to be finding a miss. There is currently no more FCs on board. Formless holding it in there just for Minato. With a very, very solid 99.5. Currently top of the leaderboard. But here's a very, very frustrating stream. And everybody hits it. Wow. If you are on Team Mexico, here's where you start praying for the hold. And Formless is going to be finding a miss. And Asael trades it back. Only 2 more streams left. And Asael finds another miss. I don't think it's going to matter, though. And Mexico is going to be taking their first point by 33,000. Great scores all around. Every single one of these players. Wow. Everybody landing above 900,000. And that might be the thing that Mexico just needs in order to get their foot back in the game. There is officially no sweep on board. Again, I'd be very shocked if we didn't see We on the Night. I'd be very, very shocked. Anything can happen, though. Again, The LNs are still on the table. Coco Slide's still on the table. They're asking for... Are they gonna be subbing in their... Interesting. Love to see it. Not too sure how reasonable that play is, but... CL4! Okay, so they did decide to go Hestia, which is... It's a sort of accuracy-based long note chart. The biggest difficulty that's going to be coming from Hestia is probably going to be the bursts of 4 strewn throughout the chart. There's also a section that I'm willing to bet at least one person's going to miss on, and right in the beginning, there is a pretty rough flam, especially if you're not paying attention, going into a long note towards the end of a stream. We'll see if all the players are able to hit it. I'm hoping so. Well, we will definitely see how this plays out. If Mexico does lose this pick, China will be at match point and on their own pick also, which I'd imagine will probably be Coco. Coco Water Slide. So Mexico kind of has to win this one. Coco, there's not really any safe picks, so... And I say that with kind of quotations. Coco is definitely not a safe pick in the idea that, like, Gardens was a safe pick. Especially with that Flam section. For goodness sakes, Snow and SAL! I believe this is one of Snow's first time actually playing in this tournament. And it's gonna be in the semifinals. I could be wrong now. Oh, it looks like Minato's gonna be asking for a timeout. We're waiting for Kimi to log into Osu. Okay. So I guess they're gonna be subbing in their player. I'm hoping everything works to the best. I am interested in seeing how this match is going to play out. The Blue Band of Kimmy. I'm probably pronouncing the name wrong. I do apologize if I'm butchering the name. Ikmi. Ikmi. Yikmi. I don't know. Try my best. I do believe this is actually Ikmi's first time playing. Unless they played in the first round, and I didn't. Not the first round, where their seed unfortunately got stolen, but the round after that, not super sure. It looks like there's some side reads coming out on this chart. But I think it's always nice to see players getting a shot to perform, especially on such a big stage like semifinals. And we're gonna be starting. I'm gonna bet 2 players are going to miss on the flam. The doublet, the grace note, whatever you want to call it. Ikmi finding the first. Oh, okay. There was a couple misses there, but I couldn't really focus on that too much. Very chaotic game. Bunch of misses getting traded all around. Mexico holding the lead by about 15,000 so far. No, and Akimi, it's It is a dynamic duo. Lube finding an unfortunate miss as Asael is very strong in this chart. I do believe he had one miss earlier, but no, not quite able to get comfortable as with Pikmin. But Lube and Asael managing to find pretty strong on the first, as unfortunately Lube is going to find a miss there. This could be great information for Team Mexico if they find them that China is struggling a bit on long note. But for some of these players' first debut, I mean, these are great scores so far. But this score lead is pretty astronomical. As we go to the closer, I mean, it has about a 250,000 score difference. And now we have the longest outro in the world, and the most easily frustrating part of the chart, by the way. Because I find myself getting the most amount of 300s right at this section. But all players managed to hit it. Unfortunately for Team China, Mexico is going to be getting that second point, which might be perfect for them. So the score is now 2-4 for Team China. And great accuracies altogether. Nearly a V1SS coming in from Asael, unfortunately finding a few chokes. And both players in Team China, again, doing very well. Team China, I mean, if I was Team China, again, I insta-lock in Coco water slide. Insta. Or maybe Astronaut, actually. Astronaut could be an option, but I think Coco water slide is probably, at least for China, a little bit of a safer bet in terms of just raw physicality. It looks like Snow might be staying in. I'm not too sure. I'd be interested in seeing if the old map gets picked. The old map is probably the most frustrating to practice. Teal 3. Wow, wait, that's really interesting. If they go Steel 3, that'll be a really interesting. That'll be really interesting. I'm not too sure they picked it. I think they're trying to figure it out still, but we'll see. Oh no, they picked Steel 3. Okay, that's going to be honest. Probably the last map I thought they were gonna pick. This matchup is just full of surprises. As Bob Ross says, silly little accidents. I mean, Formless did say that they were picking the Steel 3, so they are most likely to be playing it, but I guess we're getting confirmation. A little bit of... We have Asael and Snow versus Mari and Ekmi. Is it a Kimmy? I think it's a Kimmy. Steel 3? They're going for Steel 3! Definitely think this is in Mexico's favor, at least with how the last map went. In terms of long notes, it might be playing into their hand. We could definitely see a possible tiebreaker. I'm not going to say anything just yet, but, you know. It'd be very interesting to see these two teams. Of all the teams to play a tiebreaker, this would be probably the most exciting one to watch. And it can happen. You're gonna see a Kimmy! Again, you know what? As long as the players have fun, that's all that matters. I'm not too sure if that is quite the call. They might be a little bit too comfortable thinking Mexico might not have a chance otherwise. We'll see. We'll have to see how that turns out. Good to be players having fun. Looks like they are downloading the map. Okay. Gonna be honest, no idea how this one's gonna turn out. I don't think I could know less of how this map is gonna go. And we get into it. Okay. With Asael and Snow versus Formless and Akimi. This, just a monster of a chart. Tons and tons of doublets. Extremely easy to choke. There is a choking hazard, and Snow's gonna be from the first miss, but is gonna be traded back immediately by Akimi. Like, probably expected just a little bit. Akimi really struggling on these. Snow finding at least a little bit more comfort. Asael and Formless holding in very strong. Everybody hitting the doublets there. And both players managing to hit the combo cap. It is going to be a battle of the second player. Oh, and Asael's going to be fighting a pretty rough first break. But at this point, the score is already at 60,000 points in Mexico's favor. And here we have this, probably the hardest section of the pool, of the map at least. Still finding a break. Snow and Akimi still struggling to hang on just a little bit. And Formless holding a very strong accuracy and combo. I'd say this is anybody's game, but I'm not too sure. And Formless is unfortunately going to be finding a pretty unfortunate timed miss. And that's probably the nail in the coffin, unless Asael's house gets struck by lightning, maybe? And there's the chart. We have a small little outro to go through, but it is extremely free and not nearly enough to make up a 160,000 point difference. Unfortunately, both players in Team China not quite able to hit that last flam, which I had a sneaking suspicion that at least somebody was going to miss on that. And there it goes. Mexico having another point, almost tying it up, and it's their pick. Again, not quite too sure how the strategy was going to go out with China picking a long note map. But, again, long as players are having fun. I've said it once, I've said it again. I'd be shocked if they didn't pick We Own the Night. I think that's probably the only path moving forward. And then maybe going old pick. We will have to see. I definitely think Astronaut is something you should probably stay away from if you're Team Mexico, as well as Coco Water Slide. We will have to see what China picks after this, then. Again, I think it's gonna go We Own the Night, it's gonna go Coco Water Slide, and they're probably gonna go for Astronaut. Even though it might not be the best call, it might be the one that we go for. Yep, they're going to be back fan too. And it's going to be We Own the Night. Hey, I know this map. Mexico working on their comeback, and at least judging from the last team's 2 scores in this, Mexico did very, very well. But this is all a combo game at the end of the day, so we'll see. We'll see how this map plays out. Very kind comments coming in from Mari and Asael, you know. Not to gloat. Not that, you know, but... And what can I say? I love the song. So We Own the Night, obviously extremely fast, 235 BPM, with something I'd consider taiko patterns. I feel like that's the best way to describe it. There is a pretty rough section towards the middle with a bunch of flams. We're going to be seeing Lube and Formless versus Asael and Mari. Asael and Mari played this last time, and I think the teams are the same, roughly. Lube finding a couple 200s early on. Nothing too major, though. And Mari finding a horrifying chain miss! But still managing to hold on to a 96 with how many misses they just got. I'm pretty surprised. And Formless gonna be trading that right back. The lead shooting closer to Mexico. Oh, but there's gonna be a double miss coming in from there. By Team Mexico. And Asael finding another one. And Mari finding another one as well. Definitely not what they need right now. They have got to lock in on this last second chorus. Asael not quite being able to find their grip. Lube still holding it very, very strong, and Formless with the best accuracy in the lobby, and finding this early on. And we're gonna be getting into this second chorus, and this is honestly the last hard part of the chart, but is a pretty detrimental one if you get a lot of misses. So we'll see what happens. Formless finding it bad, but still able to hang on to their combo. And Lube is going to be finding the first miss. But it's probably not going to quite be enough. And Mari finds a pretty unfortunate couple misses there. Anything can happen still, but this last part of the map is rather easy. So I'm not too sure if it's going to be enough. But Formless is going to be finding a miss! I could be proven wrong. It's probably, unfortunately, not going to be quite enough. Asael holding in strong for Team Mexico. Nearly identical accuracies to Formless. And I don't think there's going to be quite enough of the chart, even if something bad happens. Lube is going to be finding a miss, but again, it's not going to be enough, especially with the trade over from Mari. And unfortunately, for Team Mexico, they are going to be losing their pick. China now at match point and on their pick. Great accuracies all around still. Just a couple of rather unfortunate misses that came on the board pretty early on. If you're Team China here, you're probably just hoping for a nice, clean, easy Coco water slides, maybe Astronaut. but probably Cocoa Water Slides, and just hopefully are able to hit those pretty brutal flams. We'll see. I have been surprised every single map nearly, so. And they go CL5, which is going to be Cocoa Water Slides. That being said, China didn't play this on their first losers bracket match. So that makes me wonder if maybe they aren't too comfortable. So Team Mexico just has to kind of hope that they were able to practice the map pool enough to offset any uncomfortable patterns that China might not be very fond of. And we jump straight into it. Good luck to all these players. Asael and Mari again versus Formless and Minato. Let's see some great T accuracies, guys. Let's go. Lead flickering back and forth already. Minato's still holding an SS. I don't want to jinx it. Asael, again, fantastic accuracy. Definitely able to. And unfortunately, they're not going to find their first 300. The lead is... Oh, here we have the flams! And everybody hitting the flams. Wow! And unfortunately, Mari's going to be finding a miss right after. Pretty much as everybody gets to the combo cap, which is the worst time, debatably, to find a miss. But some of these offhand streams do get a little bit tricky, so they're not out of the game just yet. But China seeming very, very comfortable with these patterns. Last break section of the chart. Asael just really killing it and carrying it for Team Mexico, not Team China. Last time I checked. Everybody hitting long shifts except for Mari right towards the end, towards the long. And Mari just unfortunately not quite able to find a lot of comfort in some of these longer and faster patterns. And that will do it. That'll wrap up the match. The victory does go to China, who seeked vengeance for getting their seed stolen and managed to come up on top over here in the losers bracket semifinals, and they will officially be moving on to the finals. So congratulations to Team China, and well played to Team Mexico. Coming in as the seed they were and managing to last this long, especially with stealing China's seed, has just been amazing to watch. They are truly horrifying players to go against. And I do hope you see you guys again in the near future for the next Monkey tournament, possibly even Monkey World Cup number 3. I'd love to see that. And that'll wrap that up, though. Congratulations again to Team China of Willie Minato, Formless, Akemi, and Lube. Fantastic playing, destructive accuracies, and that is a team that I don't want to go against. But we are! So they're going to go against us over in Team US of A, over in the losers finals, which is going to be quite the matchup. I'm personally excited for it. I'm sure they are as well. It looks like USB and Peru, I'm not too sure how their match played out. I'm not currently watching it. Currently says 0-0. I'm not too sure how accurate that is. And wow, USB ends up... Oh, there it goes. USB did in fact beat Peru 6-1. Again, great attempt by Peru. Congrats to USB for also making it over to the losers bracket finals. And the next match, 11 hours from now, is going to be the UK Civil War, which is probably going to be nearly the most interesting match that this semifinals matches are just amazing. They're like nail biting. I can't wait to see this one. And I hope you guys are able to tune in about 11 hours. But that'll have it. So we only have 2 more matches, that and USB versus Sweden. Oh, so USB actually isn't going to the losers finals just yet. They do have to fight against Sweden. Pretty scary team. That being said, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed with watching the semifinals poll. I was your commentator, ERA Basil. Appreciate you. Thank you, Ping, for being our lovely referee of the day, and even with our streamer. And that'll be it. We'll see you guys over tomorrow for GBA versus GBB. Have a good night.